What's up? What's up? Just waiting on Perlo. Thanks for joining. I'm going to play the intro. What's up, everybody? Sports Beard here, Jeremiah Maxwell. Just wanting to holler at everybody. Perlo is going to come in. We're going to talk about the next round. He's going to talk about some gambling props and stuff, and hopefully we get him here real quick. I wanted to start on time, so yeah. Anyway, let me move this so we're good. Got the Stars. They could be the Stanley Cup champions. The Stars. Give me your thoughts. Oh, Salty. What's up? Darkness. Whoa. Cool, guys. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Yeah. So who do you guys have for the your cup? Who do you think? As we wait on I got a bunch of new ones, Salty. I got a bunch of new ones. And we could do a jersey tour one of these days. I've kind of replenished the stock, so to speak. Yeah, so got the we can I think I can. We got the Gilmore there too. We'll tilt it. I don't want to go too much there, but there we go. Yeah, I'm with you, Salty. I was surprised, man. I unlike Hot Take Hockey, even though I'm kind of a resident Kraken fan because they're just the closest team. I didn't have a dog in the fight when it comes to, where did I get the Berkey jersey from? Where did I get the Berkey jersey from? Did I order it from eBay or did I buy? I think I bought it straight from Fanatics, like as a made up jersey before the Adidas deal was done. So it took a long time to get it. Actually, it took like 3 months. It was a long time. I got to represent the Caps, so I had to get the Berkey, and it sucks that he's not healthy for them. I imagine if they have McCann, they have Burakovsky, I give them a chance, man. I still think they could put up a good fight here against Dallas, but we'll see. The customization, are you asking me about the customization of the jersey or the customization of, clarify your comments? Actually, if you want to come on and just ask me, I could give you the invite. And we don't have to do this not talking through the chat here. I want to see, let's see if Rico wants to come on. Your last minute. Okay. All right. So anyway, if Grubauer plays like he did the Avs series, it will be winning Dallas in 6. Didn't play Minnesota, shot themselves in the foot. Yeah, so here's what I'll say, Darkness. I agree with that. I think Minnesota without Eriksson Ek. I also believe maybe the way they called that series, I think it benefited Minnesota to some extent. But I don't, because they're a physical team too, but I don't know, man. I thought, the call on Foligno was a little over the top. And then I mean, he got some calls I thought were just unfair. Maybe the knee on knee one, he does get the game, but I don't know. I just thought they let Kaprizov get checked 80 times in the back by Suter and they didn't call anything. So yeah, but he was not healthy, Darkness. He was not healthy at all. I don't think he was healthy coming back off injury, but then it didn't help that he got absolutely destroyed. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, what do you do? It's a crazy thing. So Perlo's supposed to come. We're supposed to have Perlo. Here he is right now. As I say, here's the man, the myth, the legend, Pearlo Wisdom. Perlo, we got some guys from the Hot Take Hockey chat that came over.
Yeah.
We got Darkness. We got Salty. Yeah, I was trying to get a guest to go on with us, but I don't think that's going to happen. But we pulled it off in the last minute.
Okay. I
Salty
tried to
asks,
get it on my computer, but it wasn't working, so I had to do it on my phone.
okay, yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, no worries. I'll just tell you, Perlo, I use Chrome. I'm on a Mac, and I use Chrome. For whatever reason, Chrome works really well for StreamYard. So,
I tried to send the link to my email to get on my computer, but it wouldn't send, so I had to do it right after.
I can text it to your number next time if you want.
Yeah, my phone number.
Yeah, I've got your phone number.
That's probably the better way to go. Yeah,
I can do that.
But we're in now, and that's all that matters. So
yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely. So what are you thinking, man? I mean, we haven't talked. Are you shocked with Boston? I know you were on. You and I both.
I'm totally shocked with Boston. Dude.
Look, I mean, we were on the Bruins. I got the, number 4 Bobby Orr.
Yeah.
That's one of the new additions. I was, Swayman being from here, Orlov and Hathaway being former Caps. That's, that's a team I ride with. I really, really, really wanted to see Boston do something because they had such a special season. I'm not one that gets off on the President's Cup trophy winning. That's happened to my team like 3 times. So,
yeah,
I
think what happened there was 2 things. What everybody was afraid of was Allmark. It was his first playoffs. And the second thing was, I think they realized that Bergie wasn't going to be able to make it through. And really, the whole season was about Bergie, right? That's what it was all about. And when he couldn't make it, I think it just took the steam out of everybody.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I said this today to Hot Take Hockey, and I don't know where your thoughts are, but I almost wonder if Bergeron coming back was a detriment to them because they won 3 out of 4 games without him in the lineup. And I think him coming back playing with that herniated disc, I think if he just sat out, maybe game 5, they win that game, then they win 6. He gets that, I don't know. Well, if they win game 5, they win the series. My bad. So I just wonder if him coming back was a mistake. And then the other thing is, I think after game 5, you go with Swayman and you stay with Swayman. You already were doing a early rotation. Allmark was not healthy. You could tell he was not healthy.
Yeah.
You're already saying he's not healthy. So,
that with there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there. But in this case, I think they might actually have a point.
I'm with you.
It's inexcusable that you would keep Allmark in there, in the pain that he apparently was in. It just doesn't make any sense at all. It's not a bad coaching. It goes beyond bad coaching. It's a head scratcher.
And Perlo, that's another thing that blows me away is because Montgomery did such an amazing job this year. And it doesn't make any sense to me that coaching would be the problem there.
That being said, what did Montgomery really have to do all year?
That's very true.
You know what I mean?
I might have been able to coach that team.
The best veterans ever, and they had a goal, and they went to do it, and he was sort of there. Really. I mean, he was sort of there to watch it. Do you think Montgomery was the reason why this team did what they did? They came in and said, we want to make it. We not only do we want to win the cup, we want to go down as one of the greatest teams of all time. And we want to destroy everybody and let everybody know that there was not too many other teams even close to what we were. And I think when Bergie couldn't do it anymore, that dream dropped. Because the whole dream was for Bergie. So
Yeah.
what did Montgomery really do? He got dropped into a situation where everybody was on the same page and there was a dream, and he just had to keep that dream going.
Well, and he didn't make any changes to their defensive structure at all. They kept exactly what was in place.
He made a stupid move by putting Forbert in and taking Grzelcyk out. Forbert.
Yeah, I actually had heard a lot of Bruins fans say that they thought Grzelcyk should come in.
Never should have left. Forbert is ass. I don't know
Yeah.
what he's doing. He's terrible.
Yeah. Here's the one thing, and I want to answer Salty's question because we have a couple people in the chat. But I will just say this: there were some calculated errors that that just you go back and look at it, and it was like, I think they should have left. Oh, we lost Pearlo. He probably got a call. They should have left Bergeron out, and they should have just played Swayman game 6 and 7. And then I was really unimpressed, guys. And Pearlo, hopefully he comes back in or he can hear. I was really unimpressed with how well their D played in the. So Pearlo, I got you back here.
Yeah. So what were you saying? You think what?
Oh, so here's what I said. I said Bergeron should probably have not come in. They were playing fine without him. Taylor Hall was tearing it up. He looked good. He looked like he actually was a top line guy. They should have left that. They were playing fine against them. And I think the other thing is they should have played Swayman game 6 and 7, not just game 7. Like, oh, here you go, Swayman. Hallmark was clearly not healthy. And then I don't know what we saw, but honestly, Lindholm, I saw a lot of what I saw in Anaheim of Lindholm, and I thought he was highly overrated. And the fact that he came over and made such a difference for them last year, I was like, wow, what a good deal for them. He's really played well on a good team. But I thought he was absolutely terrible in that game 7. He was not good. And they, as a team, did not look good. So
no. Now, here's the thing. There's another angle on this and it's the reason why I'm really on the fence about the Edmonton, New Jersey, or Vegas series. I also think there was a moment in time when they realized that everything that Cassidy was telling them was true.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, there's true. I agree.
And there was a time when they said, Montgomery, and I liked Montgomery as a pickup.
Oh, I do too.
But Cassidy is on another level. And when you had DeBrusk, and there was guys that were like not happy with Cassidy anymore, in my mind that told me that they didn't want to do it anymore.
No,
and they wanted to do it a different way.
Well, hey,
but so I think Cassidy was right, and they realized that he was right.
I love that you said that. So Salty did ask a question earlier. He asked if we were feeling Devils Leafs Eastern Conference Final. Salty, I am feeling that because I said I would put a bet on it. I think that's what's going to happen. I think the Leafs are going to win that series. I think they are now just playing with house money. They're going to play to their potential and be good. I think the Devils are better than the Canes. I do think they will. And as Pearlo said in our earlier streams, he said Schmid should have been in the net anyway. That's been proven correct. Yeah. And yes, Boston I think has the number one bonuses, but I want to highlight what Pearlo said about Cassidy. Pearlo, big news in the NHL today. Sutter out in Calgary. I know you're a big Sutter supporter. It did sound like that he had burned just about 90% of the bridges. What Frank Saravelli reported on Daily Save Faceoff to me was an indictment of Sutter just not treating people well. And it goes beyond the coaching. It's from what I read early reports out of Calgary were, and that Don Maloney, the interim president of hockey ops, could not go forward with Sutter and get a new guy in there.
I'll tell you right now, the Flames will miss the playoffs by a long shot next year.
I would.
And I don't even care who they put in there as a coach.
Yeah.
If Sutter is a great coach, and he doesn't give a shit about making the playoffs or not. What he gives a shit about, are you going to be good enough to be in the playoffs?
He wants to win.
And if you're not good, if you're not going to be able to take the adversity that I give you all year long, and if you're going to be all butthurt because I tell you you're shit, then you ain't doing shit. So fuck you. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, that's the way he is.
Well, hey, Pearlo, that's why I asked your opinion. I knew you'd have a good opinion on this. Real quick, hey, Vernon, our boy Vernon 85 from Off the Wall, and nice to see Vernon. Darkness says
Vernon's in. Nice.
Yeah, Vernon's
in.
in.
That's why I wanted to get it on the computer so I could see who's in on the chat.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. We'll get it. We threw this together so last minute. It's not a big deal. We actually got 5 in the chat, so that's pretty good. There's a history of teams finally getting over the curse in recent history and going on a run. Case in point, the 2018 Cavs and the 2022 Avs. This is from our friend Darkness. Darkness is a St. Louis guy. Darkness, I've been saying the Leafs feel like the 2018 Caps quite a bit because you have the maligned offensive player in Austin Matthews, who actually has played really well defensively this year. And I think the Leafs have like 3 of the top 12 defensive forwards, Marner being 1. And Matthews is like 12th and Willie Nylander is like 15th, which is surprising to me that Willie Nylander is that high, but he did play well in the season. And this too, Pearlo, I know we talked about this earlier, not to jump into the Leafs thing, but I did want to say Ryan O'Reilly, if he was playing like he was in the regular season, the Leafs would have lost in 5. But he has found he's just one of those guys that plays different in the playoffs. And he has looked really good.
He was really upset that he knew he was out of that situation. It was an awkward place in St. Louis, right? They signed.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I said Ryan O'Reilly. I know I said Ryan O'Reilly. No, I expect
you're talking about Riley.
I'm talking about Morgan Riley, the defenseman.
Morgan Riley. Oh, that's a different situation there.
Yeah, Morgan Riley
has played absolutely unbelievable in the playoffs, way beyond what he normally would play.
Yeah,
I totally agree with you there.
To get back to the Flames real quick, Salty said, so I'm going to let the chat. Salty said, I'm confused why Tree-Living left if Sutter was the reason. So here's what I've heard. I have heard through the grapevine, Salty, and this has been reported by multiple media outlets, so I'm not talking out of my thing here. I always try to do my research. I know Pearlo does the same. Tree-Living was on the fence about coming back with or without Suter. I don't think Suter was that big of a factor. Now, maybe what was reported today, maybe Suter was much more of a factor, but I think correct me if I'm wrong, Tree-Living's dad owns Boston's Pizza, which is a big chain in Canada. It is here in the States. We used to have one here in Alaska, in fact. So I heard Adam Wilde on the Steve Dangle podcast go, they don't have Boston's Pizza. Well, that's funny because I got hired at one. And we had one in Anchorage for a lot of years, like 10 years. And the other thing is I know that I ate at one in South Dakota, Rapid City, South Dakota. So I know they're in the, not far from the border states, there are some Boston pizzas that have trickled over.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. That's one of the Canadian
here, they're everywhere.
You know what else too? You know what else we have here in the States in some spots too, Pearlo, that is Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons, yeah.
There's a couple Tim Hortons. There's not one here in Alaska, but it would probably do well if there was, because we have Canadian military here. So,
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know that the 100% of the reason that Tree-Living isn't there. It sounded like he maybe had lost maybe the fire to even do.
Well, if you remember when he brought Sutter in, he had a media thing, and he basically said straight out, "This team needs Sutter. This team needs Sutter."
Yeah.
So it was his guy all the way. So if they were going to fire Sutter, they were going to fire Tree-Living.
And I think Pearlo too, as soon as they added Jonathan Huberdeau, that was the case big time. Because he is the type of guy that I think would need a guy like that. Because in my opinion, that guy has been invisible in the playoffs. And Vernon could speak to this. He's commenting about the Leafs and the Caps. But Vernon being a Caps fan, we should not have lost to the Florida Panthers last year. we were a shell of what we were. We had injuries up the wazoo, and quite frankly, a couple of bounces go the other way, and the Capitals beat Florida in 6, not the other way around.
That's very true.
And I thought Huberdeau was a non-factor. And if you think I'm wrong, look what they did in the second round against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Nothing. They got swept. So
do you know that Huberdeau, his defensive analytics this year were very good. In Florida, they were diabolically bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So Sutter turned a guy into a defensive player. And if you would have given him time to build the offense into the game that he was putting it in, I think Calgary would be great. Now, I don't know if they could get some progressive young guy that could just do wonders with this team, and I'm not going to say they can't.
I heard Hart. Do you know that Hart? And then I heard Conroy maybe, but I heard Conroy I heard Craig Conroy for general manager position.
General manager, that's probably the weak little play they're going to do. I can say I don't know enough about Conroy. Maybe he's extremely progressive and he's going to go a different way like Adams did in Buffalo. So I'm not going to say that because I don't know, right?
Well,
I do know that he's going to have to be that. They need an analytically modern voice and vision in Calgary. And if they don't get it, or any team for that matter, including the New York Rangers, they're not. I don't care who you have in the lineup, you're not going to win. Not in the modern era now. So
no,
I don't know who that is. But.
I told my wife, noted New York Rangers fan, that I thought you want the New Jersey Devils to win the Metro because you have a better chance to beat the Canes, in my opinion, with your goaltending and upside on offense than you do the Devils, because I thought the Devils were a nightmare for them 5v5. And that is exactly what happened. Yeah. The Devils, and honestly, the Rangers tonight, the refs they had 5 power plays, I think, to start the game. They just could not do anything.
Shut them down, man.
So before we get to Vernon's statement, Salty, since we're talking about that, Salty asked if the Devils trapping again, or is more ego shutting it down? No, I don't think the Devils were trapping. I just think Lindy Ruff does play a little bit more of a defensive style system. They get the puck up and out of the zone better than any team I've seen in a very long time.
And they anticipate in the neutral zone better than most teams out there, except for the one they're about to come up against, Carolina. Yeah.
Right. So Carolina's good. I think those games will be 2-1 the whole entire time. I still think the Devils win it, though. I still think the Devils win it. I think they have the offensive skill, and I think their defense is just as good as Carolina.
Totally agree with you, especially without Svechnikov and. They've got injuries.
Yeah, no Svechnikov, no Pacioretty, no Teravainen.
I think New Jersey will eat them up pretty good.
I would not be surprised if that's a 5 or 6 game series. Vernon says, watching the Leafs a few times before the playoffs, I said to myself, this team is different. They should exercise their demons in the playoffs. You know what, Vernon? I thought that last year. I actually thought this year they actually got outplayed by Tampa and won 3 of the games there in Tampa.
That's true.
I was at one of those games, by the way, and was kind of blown away they won it. And you should have been there in Amalie Arena. You could hear a pin drop when they won in overtime because everybody in the arena was like, what? I mean, I was just waiting for Tampa to score. I was waiting for Tampa to score. I'm like, Tampa's going to win. And they look like it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I had Toronto to win in 6 in that series. And I consider myself lucky to get it. Like that was it. Like it didn't happen the way I thought it would happen. Like the Lightning played very good, very well.
Yeah. And without Chernak, I wonder if he doesn't get injured. It's a different series. I mean, outside of game 2, I really did not see. Game 2 is what I kind of expected from the Leafs, and we only saw it once. Really, actually, game 6 was a really well played game by both teams, but. Still, I thought, the Tampa Bay carried majority of the play. Salty said he wanted to see more for Bratt and Mercer. That's the thing with the Devils, though, man. Like they didn't see much from Timo Meier either, and he's gonna figure it out. I mean, that guy just shoots and uses his body. Boy, did he get Levy to hit, though. Did you see the Trouba hit on him tonight, Pearlo? Oh, my God. Clean or dirty? I said clean, man. I said clean as day.
It's a clean hit, but it's not. This is what the thing about Trouba, okay? He's going to do that. He's going to catch you. But the fact of the matter is, it was the wrong play.
Yeah, I thought he kind of looked out of sorts. He was trying to create something out of nothing at the end there, don't you think?
He should not be torpedoing somebody in that spot. He's putting himself out of position. And that's the reason why I'm not a Trouba fan. Everybody loves him because he hits, and I get it. It's exciting to watch him hit everybody like that. But if you watch teams like New Jersey and Carolina, you don't see them make those plays. You don't see them put themselves out of position to make a hit. And that is the reason why I didn't like the Rangers to win this series. Yeah. And I don't like the Rangers to win any series until they change their mind and stop being in 2005. Yeah.
Let's talk about the New York Rangers for a second. Glot in or out? You think he keeps his job?
Probably. Should he? No.
I don't think he keeps his job. I think he's 100% out. He's been there 3 years. I think he's shown more than enough that he doesn't have what it takes to do it with that roster. No, but I'll say this. You and I have talked about this since Gorton has left. I think it was a mistake to remove him in the first place. I know you agree. I know you agree with that. I think they're in real trouble, man. Yeah. Look, that kid line, they're not kids anymore. All of them are up. Now they signed Hedel, but what are they going to do with Lafreniere?
They should have been playing top line minutes. It's the best line they have.
Well, that's very true. That's very true.
That's the best line they have, and they're not playing them because they're a bunch of old school, ridiculous, nonsense thinking people who, I'm sorry, I'm just flat out saying it the way it is. It's not that anymore. We're not there. There's no Minnesota North Stars.
Did you feel like we were back in a time warp, though? Because I was thinking of, like, you remember in 95, the Rangers, or 94, the Rangers beat the Devils, but we knew the Devils were coming on, right? With Niedermeyer, Rafalski, and Scott Stevens, and Danico, and Patrick Elias, and all that. And Mogilny was on that team. And so they win in 95. Then they win in 2000. Then they're in the Cup in, like, 2001. And then they win the Cup in 2003. So they won 3-4 Cups in that real, 10-year period of time. And the Rangers kind of went away. And I was like, wow, this feels like, history repeating itself, where the Rangers were maybe had a chance to be a Cup contender. And I thought last year was probably a better chance for them than this year even. And all of a sudden you've got this Devils team, and they're not going away for years. Like, they didn't even play Luke Hughes. He's going to be, a player for years.
They got Nemec.
They signed
Nemec coming up.
Yeah. Mackenzie Blackwood, if he ever finds his game, they've got him in this.
I think they're going to let Brack go and keep Meyer, to tell you the honest truth.
I would absolutely 100% do that too. Sorry. I like Bratt, but he's an undersized winger. And in the end, we just heard from Salty, he didn't see a lot from Mercer, and Mercer's still growing into his body.
He's only, what is he, 20, 21?
Yeah, Jesper Bratt is what he's going to be the rest of his career.
Mercer's going to be a beast, man. Don't worry about Mercer.
Palat should get huge credit. Yeah, Palat could be wearing the C for that team if it wasn't. He sure be. Oh, by the way, I wanted to ask you this. My wife, noted New York Rangers fan, as I said, when Shesterkin came out to play the puck and then they ended up scoring, but it didn't count. How did the Devils not get a goal there? That does not. To me,
I had
Shesterkin. Nobody made Shesterkin come out to the center, like the high slot dot, and play the puck. And then, Keandre Miller kind of angled him into Shesterkin, so he did more damage. And then Keandre Miller checks him in the back, and then he actually
that seemed like to me that the referee took the high road just in case, because he would look terrible if he made the right call. If he made the wrong
that
call,
should have been a goal 100%.
Yeah.
I do not know how that was.
I agree, yeah. But as a referee, I would probably have did what he did. Because if I'm wrong, it's not as bad as if I'm wrong the other way.
Well, call it a goal,
I
and you
think he
can
was
wave it off after the
50-50
fact, though. If you know what I'm saying, Perlo, that should have been called a goal on the ice, and then they could, yeah. Even Salty's asking, why did they call it dead? The Rangers never touched the puck, and again, nobody had Shesterkin forced him out to come play the puck forward. To me, we protect the goalie in the crease. When he comes out of the crease like that, it's on the goalie. If you want to risk yourself, you're another skater once you go forward like that. I'm not a fan of it.
Talking about that, talking about Shesterkin, when I really knew New Jersey was going to win this series is when Shesterkin came out and called out his bench. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Once
no, and
I saw that, I
But don't you think he was right to do so?
Yeah, but
yeah,
as a handicapper, which I am, and you can find me on bpalpicks.com, probably one of the best, if not the best, NHL handicappers in the land. If as a handicapper as I am, when I saw that, a goaltender never does that. That is a goaltender in desperation, knowing his team doesn't have it. And I'm going to come out and you don't do that. You don't do that as a goaltender unless you really understand that this team is in big, big trouble. That's the only reason why Shesterkin would do something like that. No goaltender would come out and call out his bench. Never in a million years. Unless you're an absolute a-hole, in which Shesterkin is not. That was a desperation move where he realized this team doesn't have it, man.
Yeah, I thought all year. I mean, he didn't look himself this year. I just thought all year they underperformed. You had it nail on the head. They added. I thought the Tarasenko Mikkola ad was a good ad for them. I thought they added the depth scoring they needed, but I don't think they needed Patrick Kane. I thought that was a reach. You and I both have said that. Just a massive and they didn't really give anything up for him, in my opinion, but it's just Kane
gave it up 3 years ago. He's not even trying anymore, man.
Well, I'd like to see him on a younger team where he's maybe even a more limited role than he was with the Rangers. But I'm not ready to call a 34-year-old's career over because I watched what Crosby and Ovechkin are doing, still. But, I know he was banged up this year and he wasn't healthy. So I'd like to see one more. I know you're the proverbial Patrick Kane hater. So.
I'm not a hater, but I'll tell you what, if he played for Sutter, he would give up halfway through the year.
Exactly, Salty. This
guy has no balls anymore. I'm sorry. He was wonderful. I loved Kane when he was at
Yeah.
I'm not, best American player of all time, but the last 3-4 years, that guy has gave up the ghost. He just doesn't. He just wants to put up points. I think it's an idealistic thing where he believes that this is the way the game should be played, and he doesn't like the way it's going, and he's not going to go down that road. I think that's what it is, honestly. He doesn't like the way the game is going. He likes the pure offense, finesse, and all of that stuff like that, where you see a team like New Jersey, they got a lot of great players there, but it's a restrictive system, almost the same as Carolina, and I think he's rebelling against it, to tell you the honest truth.
No, I agree. I actually thought Kane would have been a good fit for Carolina because I think he would have had to fall under Brindamore's rules and it would have worked well. And they need the scoring, and I actually thought that was the guy they should go out and get because they could have probably gotten somebody to they would have had to do salary cap retention and everything. So real quick, I want to acknowledge Darkness says, Old school coaches like Gallant have a limited shelf life. Speaking of which, the Blues front office doesn't have the balls to fix it. Issue number one, Berube and his time has expired last year. I would not. There's definitely a problem with Berube and the young guys, Kyrou Thomas. That was very evident this year watching. I watch a lot of the Blues. They're one of those midday games for me. So here in Alaska, and I love that team. I mean, I was a big fan of them to win the cup. They used to be the Alaska used to be their AA team for a long time. So, we saw Davis Payne, who coached the Aces, get to coach the Blues at one point in time, stuff like that. So my heart's always kind of been with St. Louis, and I'm with you, Darkness. I love Craig Berube. I'm sure Perlo has a different take on this.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but I do think maybe he might have run his course there. Now, I will say this, though. Perlo, and you see this in hockey a lot of times, sometimes you don't have to change the style of coach, but just the voice. So you could still get another disciplinarian in there that does well. I mean, look, I'll tell you right now, I've never been a big Peter DeBoer fan, but he's had a lot of success outside of winning the Stanley Cup. He's taken, he took the Devils, he took the Sharks, and, he took Dallas pretty far too. And now he's with Dallas now. He could probably take Dallas. Dallas is a dark horse for me to go to the Cup finals. In fact, there's something about Edmonton, like 56% on the power play. I just don't see that luck continuing. I thought if game 4 goes just a little bit different in the puck luck department, Kings win that game. They're down 3-1. Maybe the Kings win the series. But again, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just the jealous Capitals fan in me. When we were a dominant offensive team, we couldn't get calls in the playoffs. And now all of a sudden, just because there's a Canadian legend at the helm, they can do it. And it fucking pisses me off. Sorry. It's like, that's not how you win hockey games in the playoffs. That's how they said Ovechkin can't win until they play defensive first. I still don't see it from Edmonton, but I don't know, man. This year, I feel like they're going to win it.
It scares me, the defense for Edmonton, for sure. No doubt about it.
I think they're going to win it this year.
You think they're going to win the Cup?
I think they're going to the Cup final for sure.
I think they're going to the final. I don't think they're beating New Jersey. I'm putting New Jersey in the
You think New Jersey in there? So New Jersey, but what about the Leafs? What if we get an all-Canadian final?
Leafs not beating Florida. You
don't think the Leafs are beating Florida? Oh, wow.
Nope.
Perlo with the hot take. Okay, so we got to talk about the series. Salty, I did see the Caps sign Morishchenko, whatever. Yeah, they did sign him. Salty did acknowledge that he thought maybe Kane would be good on the Sabres. He's from Buffalo, noted Buffalo. So let's go. Okay, let's break down the series. Let's talk about Toronto. Let's talk about Toronto. Oh, wait, before we talk about Toronto, Perlo, what's the name of the site that you're writing for, that you're working on, the gambling site? I'll put it up on the banner.
BPOW Picks. BPOW Picks.
.com.
.com. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna BPOW. Is that correct?
BPOWpicks.com. Yeah, that's right.
You can see it. Okay, I want to throw that up there for you guys. Darkness says Panthers in 6. Darkness has been a hater of the Leafs, though. I think
I'm not a hater of the Leafs at all. I don't hate the Leafs at all.
Yeah,
I would really like to see the Leafs win this, but when you talk about Bennett, Tkachuk, Verhaeghe, tell me who. When I name a player, tell me who's going to combat that type of player in Toronto.
Well, that's
Riley.
Yeah,
that will combat Barkov. One of the they're about equal to each other.
Yeah,
Verhaeghe.
Barkov is a better skater and younger, but yeah.
Verhaeghe. Who's going to out-war Verhaeghe in Toronto? Nobody.
Marner, maybe. Marner, good defensive player.
Yeah, but he doesn't know how to go to war. That's the problem with Toronto. You've got to go to war. Yes, I like their system. I like the direction they're going. They have a decent system there. And all.
What about Matty Nyes? What do you expect, Matty Nyes? You think Matty Nyes?
That's exactly what they need. Yes, yeah. Nyes is exactly what they need, but I just don't think it's enough. When you're going up against Bennett, Tkachuk, Verhaeghe, Ekblad, like these guys go to war, all of them. That's the
What about
reason why they
Shen?
beat Boston.
I don't know. I like what
Shen.
I'll say this. I didn't think Toronto got out muscled by Tampa. I think Tampa just plays that gritty. They take a lot of penalties anyway. I think they were top 3 in the penalties in the league. I'll just say this, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but this Toronto team does have McCabe. It does have Lafferty. It does have Zach Aston Reese. They do have some grit that they could throw in Wayne Simmons if they wanted to. I know he's
but those are all bottom pairing guys. We're talking about top 6 guys that are going to go to war against you. So, and Matthews and Marner do not know how to go to war.
I think you see the defense. Oh, Ekblad was a ghost, says Salty. Yeah, I'll say this. Really, Montour is the guy that I'm going to key on if I'm the Leafs. Montour played like Ryan O'Reilly or Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
I thought if Montour doesn't play the way he played against Boston, they do not get through, but he played incredible.
I'm taking overs in every single one of these games.
Oh, yeah.
Florida,
We took the under tonight. Hot Take Hockey and I with the Beard Bet segment. I said, I want the under. I want the under and the Devils to win.
I had the under on this,
Yeah, and
but
he couldn't
Florida
get the parlay.
Defense, Darkness is hitting it right on the head there. Florida's defense is pretty shoddy. No doubt about that. I just think that if Florida plays an aggressive offensive game against Toronto, they're going to beat them down and beat them. But
I could see that going 6 or 7. And look, no one should be overlooking the Florida Panthers. They just beat the 65. And I love what Matthew Tkachuk said. He said to a lot of people, we just beat the best team of all times, but not to the people in the locker room. They felt like they had a chance from the get-go. And I didn't have any bets on Holla tonight, Salty. Should have. That pass from Hughes to Holla and that goal. I don't care if Dominic Hasek, Martin Brodeur, and Patrick Waugh were in net. They were not stopping that shot. That was an incredible. Eric Holla really had a great year for them, too. Good, gritty guy. I think he was on goal. He's been on some long cup runs, too. So that guy's
he found his niche in Florida for sure.
That's my biggest concern with that Devils team, though, is that they don't have a lot of guys that have been on deep runs. So we'll see.
Yeah, you know what? And that was the reason why, I didn't go heavy on my pick on New Jersey, because you can have the system all you want, but if your nerves are taking, if their nerves are taking over, they're not going to play the system, and the Rangers will kick your ass. And that was the thing. So I was kind of crossing my fingers that Ruff, who took a very young Buffalo team to the finals now. Of course, Hasek was mainly the reason for that.
Yeah. That was a total defensive team. They had Alexei Zhitnik. They had a great defensive forwards and like young Michael Pekka and stuff. Hey, Perlo, let me let you take over the stream real quick. I just need to stop, get a break here. And I'll let you take over. We'll come back. We'll finish our thoughts on the first series, the Leafs and the Florida Panthers. One quick comment from Salty before I let you take over the stream. Maurice could out-coach Keefe. That I believe.
Yes. Good point, dude. Absolutely. I've been saying all year that Maurice is very underrated. Some very respectful, some handicappers that I respect a lot have been against Maurice going to Florida. And I didn't agree, because you weren't going to win. They say, well, that's Florida's this type of team. Well, they're that type of team because of the way they were coached. But that's not the way they have to be. And certainly when they made the Herbedeau trade for Tkachuk, they made a distinct choice that they were going a different direction. Matthew Tkachuk is one of, if not the best, two-way wingers in the game. And actually, his defensive statistics went down this year a bit compared to what he was in Calgary. But if you make that decision, you are making the decision to say that the way Huberto wants to play the game, which is why he's all pissed off in Calgary about Sutter, is not going to win you a cup. But the way that Chuck plays the game gives you a much better chance to do so, and I totally agree with that. And when you bring over guys like Bennett, and they found that gem in Verhaeghe in Tampa Bay. Yeah, you lost Uyghur, which was a tough loss, and even I would say that I was a little on the fence of whether Florida was going to make it this year. I did pick them to make the playoffs, but I still question whether their defense was going to be able to hold up. However, there's more Warriors there than even that. You've got the Stahl brothers. What a brilliant move. Okay, definitely the defense Stahl, Eric Stahl, is really not all that great, but he's a freaking Warrior. And Eric Stahl, of course, has done very well. So I've been going on about this Florida team.
Yeah. No, I'm back. Thank you. Sorry.
And I even brought up
when nature calls, right?
Some other Warriors on this team. It was obviously built for the playoffs. Now, I was unsure whether they were going to make it into the playoffs. I had them where they ended up being. But once you got in the playoffs, you have the Stahl brothers, too. We forgot about the Stahl brothers.
I think their presence there is super invaluable. Absolutely.
Could you find any greater Warriors than those Stahl brothers? Like Eric Stahl, of course, he was one of the best two-way guys in the game. These guys, they may not have the talent, but you're not going to not try. You're not going to not give your best effort with the Stahl brothers in there. They will kick your ass. So, I really think that Toronto needs more players like that. O'Reilly was a nice pickup, and I agree with you with McCabe. That's an excellent, underrated top four defenseman. I thought that was a great pickup as well. But I just don't think they got the pieces to win the war.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great series. I'm going to say Leafs in 7. I think you've probably said what you need to say about Florida, and I really kind of concur. I really do feel like, wow, wouldn't that be – Mark Stahl has not won a Stanley Cup. Eric has. Jordan has.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that good, but that would –
Mark Stahl on defense, yeah. He's not a great –
He would be a guy I would be okay seeing win one. Salty, which is the only Red Wings and Avalanche fan I've ever met in my life, by the way. Obviously didn't grow up in those great
oh my God, he's an Avs.
Yeah, Salty Wings and Avs fan. He says Wings legend for Mark Stahl. So here's what I'll say. I'll say this. A Stahl versus Stahl conference final would be an interesting conference final. If we could very well have Carolina and Florida. Analytics showed that Carolina was for a very long period of time had the highest percentage to win the cup. I was looking for a completed bracket. That's
I think it's hard to go against Brind'Amour's system there in Carolina, but I just think New Jersey under Ruff has got as equally as good a system and just higher end players at the moment because of the injuries for Carolina, and possibly because of Schmidt, the better goaltender. So,
I really do feel okay. So I said Leafs in 7. You're saying Florida in 6. Let's go ahead and talk about this Carolina, New Jersey series then. I'm with you. I do not see how New Jersey loses this series. I just think they have the better team.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what do you? I say New Jersey in 6, and this. What are your thoughts? 5. You're saying 5. Okay. Hey, I know you do this for a living. So, and the biggest discrepancy for you in this series is what?
It's the fact that Carolina doesn't have the players that can pot them, and the way what I've seen from Schmid, and I don't know if you've been following me on Twitter. I've been talking about Schmid for quite a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I really think this kid is special. He has a calmness about him that I haven't seen since Price. Now, I
Okay.
don't know if he's got the talent of Price. I mean, he's only 22 years old, whatever
Yeah.
the case may be, but he's an extremely talented kid, and New Jersey just plays way better in front of him. I think he's every bit as good as any goaltender that Carolina can put in there. And I think Carolina will I mean, they'll do everything. You know what this reminds me sort of like? It's like the Minnesota Dallas series. If Minnesota had more talent, they would destroy Dallas. Like
They just need the center down.
I'll take yes, exactly. I'll take Minnesota's system over Dallas's all day, but when you got Hartman and Noek and all of that, like your system's only going to take you so far. And I think that's the way it is in Carolina right now without Svechnikov and and
So
who am I? Teravainen. I mean, that system is not built to score a lot of goals to begin with, and now you're losing two of your best
well, our
scorers.
friend Darkness in the chat agrees with you, Perlo. He says that I'm feeling the Devils in 5. The Canes injuries are just going to catch up to them at some point.
Yeah.
We both are taking the Devils 5 and 6. Real quick, Akira Schmid, named after the anime Akira, which is, by the way, a good anime. If you're,
Oh,
I'm not,
really? I didn't
yeah,
know that.
yeah. His dad was a fan of that anime, which was a very good anime. I'm not a huge anime, but that's one of the classics. He has played 5 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. He's 4-1 with a 138, a 9.51, and he has 2 shutouts. Now, I did not know this kid is 6'5".
Yeah.
He looked, and by the way, the Ranger, he gobbled up everything tonight. I just want to sing his praises one more time before we move on to the next series. But he gobbled everything up tonight. The Rangers got very little second chances. And when they were in, it was one and done. And he swallowed up the puck. That is a sign. And look, I'm not on the fence. The greatest goalie of all time is a Czech goalie. It's not
Patrick
even close
is the greatest of all time, no doubt.
Yeah, it's Hasek. And if
not even close.
Yeah. If you debate it, you don't know what you're talking about.
You're stupid.
Well, like Dryden was incredible, but he doesn't have the longevity, right? Patrick Waugh was great, but when he was bad, he was terrible.
Well, and then Patrick Waugh, I think, would be the second best, and then
Brodeur. I agree with that. And I would say Marty Brodeur played under the best defensive system ever created in hockey in the dead puck era.
Yeah.
And he was the first hybrid goalie. So, as much shit as they give Gretzky, nobody could lift the puck off the ice or whatever. Well, goalies didn't play like Brodeur before Brodeur. I mean, you were either a stand-up or you were a butterfly. You weren't on both. Yeah. So, I give Marty was a little bit of a revolutionary guy in that thing, But anyway, I wanted to talk about Schmid a little bit. Okay, so let's move on over to the Western Conference. I'm going to save your home city for last. Dallas and the Seattle Kraken. Let's see, what do I got? I got the Andre Burakovsky Seattle Kraken jersey. Let's go Kraken. Okay, so I would pick the Kraken if McCann and Burakovsky were in, and I knew we were going to see the performance that we saw from Philip Grubauer because he played awful in the regular season, but he was 100% the difference maker against Colorado. Now, I wonder, because he was on that team, there's some familiarity. I think a lot of people underestimate that. Darkness says, Dallas in a sweep. He's not messing around. But I just think Dallas, by the way, I love their reverse retro this year so much. I do want to see more from Robertson and a couple other guys, Johnston, who's young. But I don't know, man. The X factor there, who's got the better goalie? It's Ottinger to me. I think Dallas in 6. What do you got?
I think Dallas as well. Yeah. I mean, I had Colorado in 7, and I went against my gut that Seattle would win that series, and I'm pissed off about that. But I had
Yeah, Hot Dog Hockey
Colorado in
called it
7.
7. He called it from the get. He said Seattle in 7. And I give him credit because I watched a lot of Kraken this year, and they still kind of struggled to hold leads against good teams. But for whatever reason, they played well against Colorado. I think we're getting a little feedback. Is that from me or?
Yeah, I gotta find out what's going on.
Yeah. Salty says he feels like Johnson and Beniers are playing well. They just can't get the results. Beniers. Oh, Matty Beniers. Yeah, Matty Beniers has not scored. I kind of was wondering too while Pearlo gets his stuff fixed here, and then we don't have much time left anyway. That they are a little bit snake bitten there. So, yeah, I have seen nothing but good stuff from Matty Beniers. So I will take Dallas in 6. And I think Pearlo, Beniers does have a goal. But he's had some chances. Boy, talk about snake bit. Bjorkstrand could have had 4. If they get that effort out of Oliver Bjorkstrand, they're not going to miss McCann. So, we lost Pearlo. Hopefully he comes back. I'm going to drop the link in the chat too if you guys want to jump on and ask a question before we get out of here. I'll keep you in the queue till we get done with our finals preview. But I'm going to you don't have to come on screen. You can just ask audio. That's why I pay for this program. It's just easy to bring people on. They can click the link and it's on whatever device you're on. So Hot Take Hockey has his reaction out to the New York Rangers. So check that out. Yeah, I 100% agree, Salty. Let me text Steve the link real quick. Let me text him the link to this just so he has it in his, so we can work this out. He said that would help him, and I don't want him to be. I might not be able to. I'll text it to myself. Sorry about this, guys. I apologize. I'm making a mess out of this. All right, let's get him to. There you are. Copy. That's not report junk. Good. All right. Steve, I'm sending this to you. I'm texting the link to you. So if that helps you out. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to try to get Pearlo back in. And if you guys want to jump in, there's the link. Okay. I heavily disagree. Gruber has been their MVP. Okay. Well, Gord's been great. Salty. I agree. And I would say the last couple of games, I thought Gruby played really well in the series as whole. There was a couple games where I think it got away from him. But I will say this, Seattle was a little lucky with the people missing for Colorado. But I'll tell you, I don't think the road gets easier for Colorado, guys. We got Pearlo back. Here we go. Let's see.
Jeez, I don't know what's going on, dude. But okay, so I want to finish this off.
Hey,
no way we're getting started.
Pearlo, you didn't miss anything. We were just a couple of the guys in the chat. We Salty and Darkness have been riding with us this whole time. I appreciate you guys hanging out. They said Gord's been the MVP from Salty, and Darkness thinks it's been Grubauer. I think you could make arguments for both, but definitely with Gord playing top line center, and McCann being out. But I'll tell you, if we see what we saw from Bjorkstrand, I really think that the Seattle can make some noise. I still think Seattle in 6, but Dallas in 6. But I think that has more to do with just the goaltending with Ottinger and stuff. So
yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Dallas in 6 seems like about right, I guess. You brought up a good point with Grubauer playing against his old team. I don't know if he's going to have that same magic against Dallas. I love Seattle's depth, and they worked hard. But And this is the reason why I almost took Seattle was that McKinnon, I don't know if you remember, or if you saw it, but he was asked about when Landeskog was injured and wasn't going to come in. And he actually said in public, on TV, we're screwed. And I thought it was sarcasm. But I went back and looked at it, and he was like literal. And I've heard about him that he's kind of a negative Nancy, and he's a perfectionist, and he drives people crazy a lot. And
Yeah,
when things don't go his way, it's a little like.
Well, Pearlo, there's a little bit of an indictment that he doesn't wear the suit for that team, in my opinion. And I think that has a lot to do with his personality. And I agree with you. And it was never more evident when this Matty Beniers clips his skates. It's not a trip. It's an incidental collision, happens 100 times in the game. They don't call it a trip, but he loses his mind, and they scored the goal because of it. And quite frankly, if he back-checked, we might have seen Colorado win 6. So I don't know, man. Salty, I think we lost Salty. Salty might have left us on that note because he doesn't want to hear the McKinnon heat, but or
is he a big Avalanche fan?
Yeah, I mean he's an Avs and Wings fan, so obviously
that's the thing about being like a handicapper like me. You can't get butthurt about your team or what you think. You know, you don't get emotionally involved in the games. If you really want to know hockey, you got to be able to see things from an unemotional level.
Well, here's what I'll say. In every sporting endeavor I've ever seen, the guys who keep their heart rate down and keep calm when the shit hits the fan tend to do really well when the shit is hitting the fan. Let's just say that.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
they won a cup last year, so here we are poo-pooing on McKinnon, who just won a cup. I'm not really poo-pooing on him, but he basically came out and said we can't win without Landeskog.
Well, he wasn't wrong. They didn't win. He wasn't wrong. They didn't win.
I guess you could say he's right, but would Landeskog say that if McKinnon went down? No.
No, I think between the Nichushkin thing and all the weirdness around that, and then Landeskog being gone, and then Makar getting suspended and stuff, and then they just avalanched the uphill battle. I mean, they still won the Central. Okay, I think we both are on the thing with Dallas. I said Dallas at 6. You kind of concurred. Let's talk about the final series. Your hometown Edmonton Oilers versus the Vegas Golden Knights. I am going to let you go first. Go.
I hate this series. I really hate this series from a captain perspective. You've got, and I love Stevenson. That's a great player to take, because if there's ever a guy in the league that got the most out of himself, I don't know if there is one. I mean,
no, big fan. He's also on the cap 2018 Cup team. I like the experience on Vegas. But go ahead. You're having the audio issue.
Is that another guy that is maybe equal to that is on the other team, and his name is Hyman. So, you have your Stevenson, you have your Hyman. Right? Those two kind of cancel each other out a little bit. You've got Marchessault, who's one of the better two-way wingers in the game. You got Stone, who is probably the best two-way winger in the game, besides Matthew Tkachuk. You got Eichel, who is still trying to be what he believes he can be. I do believe he's trying to be that, and I believe he's going to have that year. I'm not sure if it's in these playoffs.
Yeah.
But I do believe he's going to have that year. You got Howden, who has finally grown up and is playing an adult game now. You know, this is what everybody was hoping Howden would be. Maybe even more offense, but he's playing an adult game. So you have a lot of depth there. You have a lot of depth there in Vegas, and then you have defense really depends to me if Theodore is in or not.
Yeah.
You know, that is a huge.
If Shea Theodore is there, that's a huge ad. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Peter Angelo is great, but Theodore is the best defenseman on that team.
Yeah.
You got McNabb, great.
Carrier too, really good.
Yeah, you got a lot of good depth and everything.
Yeah, I think their defense is equal to the task. It's just Edmonton's offense is, you know, they have to figure out a way to neutralize Vander Kane, in my opinion.
Hey, do you think that they're going to load up on the top line and take them on? Going to put?
I think it would be a mistake, honestly.
You think it would be a mistake to load up on that top?
I think Cassidy knows what they're doing. Yeah, Salty says this isn't Winnipeg. So real quick, let me get Darknesses in there, and then I know you're having your audio issues here, and it's cracking a little bit. So, Vegas, yeah, I don't know if you have it close to a magnet or something. We're just getting it's a little better there. Vegas in 7. I think they don't have the high end talent that the Oilers do, but they have vastly better and consistent depth, and that is a difference maker. So I don't disagree, Darkness. The thing that scares me, and I think we lost Pearlo again. But the thing that scares me about is just how good Edmonton has been offensively. And to me, it feels like people can't stop overplaying them. And if they just sat back and let McDavid skate around like 100 million times, I wonder if it wouldn't just equal out. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I am going to go with Vegas in 7. I'm pretty sure Pearlo is probably doesn't want to pick Edmonton because he wants to see him win and he doesn't want to jinx them. But we'll see what happens. And then I think we'll be back for the next round to talk about that. And that could be in a week. It could be that quick. You never know. So I'm going to see if Pearlo comes back on Final Clothing Thoughts. If anybody has anything else, I'd love to hear from you. Again, Pearlo, you can go to his site. Here we go. We got him back. Yeah, okay, we got you back. I'm gonna just Pearlo. I said Vegas in 7.
Oh, nice.
But I'm not really sold on it. Real quick, you can go to bpowpicks.com to get Pearlo's picks. He works very hard at becoming a hockey handicapper. And I love a lot of stuff.
I actually have Edmonton in here, but I'm not betting this series. Like,
I would not be shocked if it's Edmonton in 4. You know, it's just the way
that's a really good point. I don't see Vegas ever winning this in 4 straight. Yeah. But I could see the Oilers winning this in 4 straight. But that being said, the longer it goes, I like Vegas more and more. Like, I think you brought up a really good point there. I think the Oilers need to win this early, get on top of their offense, and just shoot the shit out of Brossoit. If they can't find a way to do that, I think the longer this goes, the more I'm on Vegas.
Yeah, the Vegas needs to muck it up and make it a muddy, dirty game and make it hard on the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
And they need to figure out a way to neutralize Vander Kane. I think he's been one of the bigger difference makers for Edmonton. And I think you kind of changed that series. And I wonder, you know, if he's not healthy, I wonder if they walk through it. Darkness says he thinks the series is a coin flip and he has Vegas winning it, but he doesn't have a great feeling about it. He said Vegas in 7. That's me. I'm with you, Pearlo. I would not bet this series. I want to see how the first games are played. We're going to see that tomorrow, are we not?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
I mean, there's so many factors in this series that can go either way. I mean, the Oilers' depth has been much better as of late. They certainly have been able to play a better defensive game and 5-on-5 game than they played in the last 10 years. But Vegas has been playing a better 5-on-5 game since their existence. And, you know, so if they play, it's sort of like New Jersey against the Rangers, but I give the Oilers more of the I give them more of the spots for their top end offense. Certainly, if Vegas gets in the penalty box, forget about it. It's over. That's
Pearlo. so, we didn't talk about this in the Stars thing, but I think the Stars power play was clicking at 44% or something, which is out of this world. And Edmonton's at 56%.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think they got that many calls against the Kings.
No.
So really, the Kings actually the Kings power play was solid against them. I think the key to success is 100% you have to stay out of the box, which I don't know is possible in today's playoffs, especially with McDavid. I think
Vegas is probably one of the least penalized teams in the league.
Yeah, that's a good matchup. This is a good matchup. I mean, they won the West. They had 109 points. This is not a shitty team. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on Brisebois. Has played well. Everybody's like, oh, he was crap before. Well, he got his hip fixed, and it seems to be like the difference. Yeah, he's played great.
He's playing every bit as good as Skinner. That's
that's what I'm saying. Skinner, you could say all you want, like, oh, Vegas doesn't have proven goaltending. Neither does Edmonton. They won a round, and they won a round against a Kings team that I think probably was lacking a little bit on the back end, and didn't do it with the goaltending. I mean,
it's funny you mentioned that. We agree on a lot of stuff. A lot of people say they're a very good defensive team, but they are. But it's mostly from their forwards.
Yeah,
their defense is not really all that fantastic.
No, I mean, even Doughty has never been, in my opinion, even he's not a shutdown D. He's more of a two-way D. He's that. If you ever played NHL, TWD. He's a two-way defenseman. He's decent on the defensive end, but offensively is where you get a lot from Doughty. I still think, him being in the lineup last year would have been a difference maker for them. But, and then Dursey too, man. Like, I like Dursey, but to me, he's much more offensive defenseman. But Gavrikov was a good ad, but Edler was injured. Edler 5 years ago, if he's 5 years younger, wow, what a difference maker he would have been on that team.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, the LA Kings would have won in 4. It is what it is.
The LA Kings need to go after it. Apparently, Hellebuck might be available at Winnipeg.
Yeah,
if they got something like that now. Okay, now you're talking about a team.
But did you think Hellebuck played particularly well? I didn't even think he did, man. And I think
the whole team was in a shitty spot. The whole team.
Yeah. And you know what I heard today from Elliot Friedman on the 32 Thoughts podcast with him and Jeff Merrick, and I thought this rang really true, is that Winnipeg team used to be really jelly, really good team where they seemed like they worked real well together. And a lot of people would say Dustin Byfuglien's been gone, but he said, and he mentioned a name that I forgot about, was Brian Little. And I was like, yeah, Brian Little was a glue guy and a really good, top 9 forward, could be in the top 6, could play in the top 6. But really, and I guess he was one of those guys that, kept it loose, but knew all the guys, knew how to keep guys accountable. And it just felt like there was some toxicity. And Hot Take Hockey and I have talked about this too. I just absolutely despise Pierre-Luc Dubois. I feel like he is the antithesis of somebody who thinks the grass is greener on the other side. And you don't see that in hockey a ton. But he's one of those guys like, oh, I don't like it here. Oh, I want to go to Montreal. I mean, as soon as he got to Winnipeg, he was talking about going to Montreal. He didn't like Columbus. Well, everybody and their mother says Columbus is one of the best towns you can play in. And I get it.
It was before Winnipeg. Columbus knew he always wanted to go to Montreal.
Right.
And I think Columbus knew when they acquired him that he was always going to go to Montreal. Much like the Rangers. Much like Panarin with Chicago and Columbus. Panarin told them both, I'm going to New York.
Yeah. So. Well, I bet New York wishes they didn't have him now, because how many points did he have in this series? He did not look good.
Absolutely.
So you've got Edmonton. I've got Vegas. We both have Dallas. Just recapping. You've got Dallas, Florida. Dallas. I've got the Leafs. And we both have New Jersey. So we're on two of the same series. We'll get back together here the next time we've got some time. We'll try to do it with more than 10 minutes. We'll get Rico. Hopefully,
going back to that Florida-Toronto game series. Yeah. Because as a capper, I like to pick off great minds like yourself when it comes to hockey. That's how I became a great capper, is I talk to people who know what they're talking about, and you are certainly one of those. So before I put on a bet on Florida, okay, I just quickly, if you could give me your lean on what it is that with Toronto over Florida that you think that Toronto's going to take that.
Here's all I think it is, Perlo. Just
Yeah.
sometimes the team stifles so long to get out of the first round or to beat a team. I saw it with Washington and Pittsburgh. When we finally got back, Ovechkin said it. When we finally beat him, he goes, we knew we were winning the cup. Even when they were down 3-2 in the conference finals against the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're like, nope, we're winning. He never doubted for a second they were going to win. And I just wonder if that is this. Again, I think Toronto is a little bit mentally weak, but I wonder if this is the thing that just puts them over, because we've always said they've had the talent and skill to do it. Now, is this the most talented Toronto team that they've had? No, probably like 3 years ago when they still had Kadri and stuff was better, than even with Tavares. But, Tavares scores a big goal. I thought other than one game where he had a hat trick, I thought he was largely garbage for them. But I just wonder if this is just it. They're over it. Like, he knows this is their chance. They've got it. They've got to do it this year. I still think that hasn't changed for them. And I just think that the Toronto Maple Leafs have overcome that first hurdle. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to not lose to Florida. They could easily do so, and I don't disagree. I just think that for whatever reason, and look, man, like, I like the forwards from Toronto better. The D to me is a wash because I don't think either team has a talented D. I think Montour's been very good offensively, and so is Morgan Riley. Outside of those two guys, I mean, Ekblad is kind of a shell of. He's had so many injuries and concussion problems and stuff. He's like a 40-year defenseman, and he's not even 30, right? I mean, he's played. It's just so. And then the goaltending, I give Florida the edge. Bobrovsky, great. I like Samsonov, but I'm going to take the guy that's won the Vezina Trophy twice and has played in the playoffs a lot. I'm going to take Bobrovsky over that. So really, to me, Toronto's forwards, the D is a wash. You give Florida the edge on goaltending. It's kind of like, it's 1-1-1. I don't see it.
So the tie goes to the X factor.
Yeah, I just think that they've got over that hurdle.
The hurdle, yeah.
I don't think they're scared of them either. They played them particularly well this year too. Didn't Toronto? Toronto beat them pretty well several times this year. If you go back and look at even in Florida, when Florida had to win, they played Toronto in a must win, and Toronto kind of put the beat down on them. So what I've seen from Toronto this year, I just think they don't go into FLA Arena the same way they go into Amalie Arena, where they're on eggshells when they play Tampa. I just feel like the confidence is there. There's probably even more transplants in Miami area I bet you half that damn stadium is Leafs fans. I just don't, especially now that they're like, we're not selling tickets to Leaf fans. So Leaf fans are going to come out of the woodwork to go. I saw the guy from Alberta, the diehard Leaf fan from Alberta, that's like, I'm making it a mission to go to a game now that they said we're not selling the Canadians. And all it is just need a friend like me to buy if you wanted to go, I'll just buy the tickets for you and you just wire me the money. And here's your tickets, brother. I transfer them to you. So, and you go, and then
no, those are all good points, and like I said, I'm not betting this series. I don't think. If I did, it would be like Florida.
So you're going to stay away from Toronto, Florida, and Vegas, Edmonton.
I would take Florida plus 1.5. I think is what I put on it, but that's at minus 155. So what I think is actually going to happen, I do think Toronto's going to win the first game. I do strongly believe they're going to win the first game. In which case, then I'll put a bet on Florida to win the series after being down one. Maybe plus 1.5.
We get better odds.
Even better. Plus 1.5 to win the series. So it's going to go to 7 games, right? Then I get some decent money on that at about minus 110, maybe even plus 110, rather than minus 155 to at plus 1.5. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to bet Toronto first game because Florida coming off that Boston win, man, how are you going to regenerate that into Toronto at home? It's pretty tough, right? Toronto's had a little more rest. They're also coming off their first series. So in your mind, in agreement with you that I do believe Toronto will come in with some confidence here. I actually think the problem is not the confidence, it's how much of it there will be.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think they're
saw a
going
lot
to
of
be going
answers.
into this overconfident.
Yeah, I didn't see that from them, though. I saw a lot of, we know the job's not done. This is not what we play for is win run. I know the fan. Perlo, I think you got to do, first of all, you're in the country and you just get Leaf saturation. I know it's just at you all the time. And so if you're outside of that area, but I'll just say this, as someone who listens to a lot of Leafs talk, my boy Nick Kiprios, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, 509, I listen to their show every day. I hear the air of arrogance from the Leaf fans, and I despise it from time to time. But I also remember the fans don't represent the team,
and they're only a small pocket. The average Toronto fan is fantastic.
I'm not even saying that the fans are bad. I think the fans are great. I'm just saying, like, I think the Leaf fans are great. I think a good large portion of them are super knowledgeable. I'm not crapping on Leaf fans by any stretch. I think it's too easy.
I'll take a Leaf fan over a Tampa fan any day.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to say that because I know some good Tampa fans too. I
know, but I'm talking about your average, like.
Yeah, I mean, you have the casuals, right? I mean, same with Toronto. I will say I tend to notice a little bit more toxicity from the Canadian fans, period. Like the ones that live in Canada, the stuff that's said. I see the stuff that's said to Frank Saravelli about his weight and stuff that's like, just because somebody doesn't like what he says about their hockey team, and the guy has an Edmonton Oilers logo on his thing. I'm just saying I see a lot of it. It's just kind of, well, we're adults, right?
All of those freaking homers that are willing to belittle a human being just because of a team, like, come on, man, go get a life, go find a hobby so you feel better about yourself.
Go get a girlfriend or something,
and you don't have to personally attach yourself to a freaking team. Like, that's brutal. Yeah.
So let's just recap one more time before we get off. You've got Panthers in 7. I've got Leafs in 6. We both have the New Jersey Devils. I said Jersey in 6. You said you were good with that. We both think the Dallas Stars are going to overcome the Kraken in 6. I just think the goaltending there. And really, quite frankly, Dallas has a high-end defense too. Heiskanen doesn't get talked enough about. We didn't really even dive into Dallas's defense.
Well, we didn't even dive into Dallas. That was kind of worries me about their defense. I like Heiskanen. I freaking love him. Lindell is fantastic, but they play Suter way too much.
Yeah.
Like, it's time to give him 5-6 minutes, man. Stop it.
Yeah, I would also say, like, we talked about sentimentals, like with Florida and the Stahl brothers. Nothing would make me happier as a USA hockey fan to see Joe Pavelski. I mean, I feel like that guy has deserved it. And then we're split on Vegas and Edmonton, but I would easily be I think if Edmonton wins the first 2 games, they're going to win the series because
neither one of them would surprise me.
The first 2 games are in. What's up? We got Sasha Hoffman in here saying, "What's up, Jeremiah?"
Sasha,
and also to Perlo. Hey, Sasha. We're just about wrapping up.
Sasha in a long time.
So you say Edmonton, but you didn't pick a thing. You both said you would not gamble on Florida and Leafs and Vegas and Oilers, but we both feel good about Dallas and the New Jersey Devils. We'll probably be proven wrong after game 1 when Carolina wins 6-0 or something, but we'll see what happens.
I think we're bang on.
I do too. Yeah.
I was bang on everything except for Boston, and who saw that coming? I mean, no. If you saw that coming, all the power to you, man.
Well, Hot Take Hockey said he wanted to pick Florida. He had a gut, and I heard a lot of people, especially in the Toronto media, just completely ignore Boston because they had to look at what was in front of them, right, in Tampa Bay, and they hadn't beaten them in the playoffs. But I was like, are you ignoring the 65-win record-setting Boston Bruins, who are probably going to win the Stanley Cup? And
it's not only the President's Trophy thing, it's the makeup of the team. I mean, that team had all the tools. We talked about this before.
I agree with you. Yeah, we talked. I don't think we'll have. Darkness says he has a friend that had Florida in 7. Well, good for you. Hey, look, hey, before the series started, somebody told me Florida was the only team to beat Boston twice, and I saw the Capitals beat Boston in Boston this year, and I said the Capitals were not good this year. They just were never healthy. They didn't have. I mean, they were playing like aging vets and AHLers a lot of the year. In fact, the guys they called up did fairly well. But I was like, yeah. And then they traded Orlov, Hathaway, Bertuzzi goes there. They did you know Foligno was a healthy, again, that was a thing too. I didn't get, they had Foligno as a healthy distraction. He must have not been 100% either. And part of me would like to see them come back with Bergeron, Krejci, and just run it back one more time.
Bergeron's done.
Yeah. It's so tough, man. I have so much respect for that guy. And I honestly, man, I was rooting for Boston. Because I don't like the President's Cup. I say if you win the President's Cup, you should only have to win 3 games.
It's the first time I've taken the President's Trophy winner in a very long time. I had Columbus over Tampa Bay that year when they won. I had that. And but this team, this was something different. This wasn't a team that was just trying to out offense everybody and play, regular season hockey to get points. But man, it just seemed like once Bergeron was, like, you saw interviews with him and you realized he can't play. He can't finish this. He can't do it.
Yeah, I wish he would have stayed out. Again, I wish he would have just stayed out of this round. I think they'd get by Florida without him there. I think Hall was playing exceptionally well. I think he knew that this was going to be maybe his only shot to win a Stanley Cup. He even spoke about that. I liked what I was seeing from the other guys. Bertuzzi, I think, led them in points along with Orlov. So the additions, Don Sweeney did a great job. He's got to figure out how to get those guys in the fold. And I know that's going to be a tough sell with where they're at, but hopefully they can get them to take hometown discounts, try to run it back even without Bergeron. And as much as you could hate Marchand and stuff, I 100% saw, I was sad for those guys when they were hugging and crying. You froze up on me a little bit there, Perlo. But real quick, Sasha Hoffman says, hope Edmonton plays good for you the rest of the playoffs, Perlo. I think Darkness says, with Boston losing it, it'll be over a decade since the President's Trophy winners won the Cup. That screams there's a curse. No, I don't think there's any doubt. I'm gonna probably end the stream. I'm just gonna message Perlo. I think we got our picks out. It was really good to have you guys. We've been going for like an hour and a half, so I usually like to try to keep it about an hour, just so we don't lose everybody. But hey, I really appreciate Salty, Darkness. Salty, I know you're a mod for me, which you'll never have to do because we just don't get that many people. Sasha, really nice to meet you. Anyway, guys, appreciate you. We'll keep on the lookout. Follow Perlo or me, and we'll get back on. We'll get back on the train and see when we can do this again. All right, guys. Thanks so much.